Ladies and gentlemen, we have a big update when it comes to Switch 2 pre-orders in the US, and we have some price changes, okay? Fortunately, spoiler alert, not for the system, but a lot of stuff around the system, and people are kind of scratching their head as to why some of these changes have happened, and I wanted to give at least some of my best guesses, my educated guesses at what exactly is going on here, especially from a retail perspective with the Switch 2 and the accessories, and of course, when you can get a pre-order in for this thing. So if you guys enjoy this video, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new. So first, let's head over here. This is posted up over on Nintendo's website. It was a press release that got sent out. Some retailers, I know GameStop kind of shared an update online, but for the most part, the way it works is you have your distribution partners, and of course Nintendo, being part of that, would send out information even at times ahead of the press release that they would put out online. But still, we have an idea, of course, when we can pre-order this thing. It's right at the top. Pre-orders begin April 24th in the US. That's next Thursday. So they're giving us about a week or so advance notice on that, which is good. I saw Target is already putting out like a circular ad that mentions 12 a.m. April 24th that they'll have pre-orders going live. So unfortunately, it looks like it's that situation with some retailers where it is like as soon as the date rolls over from the 23rd to the 24th, those pre-orders will go live, which means, yeah, some are going to have to kind of just stay up and wait for those to go live and start clicking add to cart over and over again. Hopefully you can get through with the pre-order. My plan still is to attempt the online experience as well as just go to GameStop, especially since we've heard that the allotment there seems to be more than expected. So we're thinking maybe 100 per store. That should be enough for the initial rush of people who look to pre-order, I assume, in the first day or two, hopefully. So with that said, though, pricing on the system is the same. This is great news because a lot of concern, clearly, that we would see the prices move up when it comes to the console. $450 for just the standard console, $500 still with Mario Kart World bundled in. Keep in mind that is a digital version. However, even for me as somebody who likes to collect a lot of the physical stuff, I'm kind of thinking, you know what, $50, that seems fine, even for the digital version. Maybe down the road, years and years from now, I'll see if I can find Mario Kart World on sale for like $65. Hey, that's the world we're living in right now. But there you go, $450, $500, bit of a relief there when it comes to the pricing. However, here's the situation around price changes because yes, things have gone up in price. And in fact, it's just about everything other than the system itself on the hardware and accessory front. Now, the games will still remain the same price. And they do mention here, okay, so they say both physical and digital versions of Mario Kart World is $80, Donkey Kong Bonanza is $70. They'll remain unchanged at launch. Kind of hinting at the idea that prices can indeed go up around these games. Okay, and some are wondering, why would that be? Well, as we know right now, very uncertain economic times. Tariffs seems to be the word of the century right now. Every other day, something is changing around that. And as we know, not only are the systems produced in many different regions of the world, cartridges are also produced I know they produce them in Japan, China, Vietnam, I think some in Taiwan. So it is kind of like all over the place, and it's really dependent on where the tariffs are when it comes to the percentages. And I'd like to think we're going to slot in here pretty consistently at that $70 price for big, quote-unquote, AAA games, and this $80 thing is something we see very sparingly. But companies are going to company, and that means, yes, we're going to see probably prices continue to go up in general across the board. But we'll put a pin in that until we see GTA 6's price. Anyway, we do see price adjustments for the accessories, okay? And again, that's pretty much across the board. And there is something, I've noticed. People talk a lot about game prices, like being really expensive back in the day versus now. You see that inflation calculator all over the place. They're dropping the $80, $90 the Chrono Trigger or whatever from the Super Nintendo days in, and look how expensive it is. No one ever talks about controller prices, and that's an interesting one because the Switch 2 Pro controller is $85 now. That did see a price increase of $5. Originally it was $80. So it's not like it's gone up $30 or something, but it is still an increase, and we're now looking at a controller that I think most people are going to prefer using at $85. And here's the situation around these controllers. If you have a Switch 1 Pro controller right now and you're more than content with it, Nintendo's already told us that you can still use that on the Switch 2. So it might be a situation of, you know what, I'm just going to buy the bundle and I'll look to the accessories later. Your current Pro controller for the Switch 1 should be at least nice enough, like stopgap, I guess, to get you there, just so you're aware of that option, okay? That's all. The Joy-Con, same thing, but you're going to get Joy-Con 2 controllers with your Switch system anyway, but if you need an extra pair, you can also use those. So at least there's some sort of alternative there when it comes to the accessory front, because not only has that gone up, the Joy-Con 2 pair is $95. That also seeing a $5 increase. That's quite expensive. I mean, we're right on the doorstep of a $100 controller, technically, with a $95 Joy-Con 2 pair. I think people tend to forget that the Joy-Con pair currently is $80. Massive talking point back in 2017 when that got revealed after their initial big showing for the Switch. I remember accessories were really, really under fire back then for those prices, and now we're looking at a $95 Joy-Con 2 pair. Charging grip, that one's $40. Joy-Con 2 strap is $14. Joy-Con 2 wheel set at $25. The Nintendo Switch 2 camera is $55. That is the 1080p one. I would get that over the Piranha Plant. Apparently, the Piranha Plant one from Hori is like 480p or something. Don't know what the deal is there. The Switch 2 dock set is now $120. Switch 2 carrying case screen protector at $40. The Switch 2 all-in-one carrying case at $85. The AC adapter is $35. And then the micro SD Express card, 256 gigabyte, is $60. I would recommend shopping around for other SD Express cards for the Switch 2, since typically the Nintendo branded ones are usually just more expensive anyway. And let's face it, I'm sure have many, many options in the next year or two for the system, to where it'll be at least much more affordable to get different micro SD Express cards. Just got to look out for fakes or things that are misbranded as Express cards, because if you get one that is just like the older style SD card, it's just not going to work for you. With all that said, what's going on here? Why did they raise prices of the accessories but not the console itself? Well, it is, of course, as you'd expect in a very nuanced world right now. It's very, very multifaceted and nuanced. Okay, so the system itself at $450 and $500 is already at that breaking point when it comes to, it's like right on the cusp of, can I actually get this, for a lot of people, right? Like they're looking, they're doing the math, they're figuring this thing out. If they did go to even $500 or $550, or let's say they had to go up $100 or something because the tariffs were out of control and they couldn't eat the cost on it, and we're dealing with a $550 or $600 system, I know there are people who will still buy it. It's not most people. The mainstream would look at that and go, I just don't think it's for me right now. I'll wait until it gets cheaper. Here's the situation we're in right now. Consoles are not getting cheaper. They are going the opposite direction. They are getting more expensive as the generation progresses, and we've seen that play out pretty much through the Switch, like the Switch 1, that lifespan. We've seen it play out with the PS5 and with the Xbox Series. Yes, many of them are introducing new console variants, like the Xbox Series X 2 terabyte model that did touch $600, or the Switch OLED that went up to $350. The point is, the other systems aren't exactly dropping in price. They're staying there, and they're just raising the overall bracket of pricing when it comes to these systems. So the Switch 2 itself is low margin, or non-existent in terms of margin for retailers. There is the thing you have to realize with this. Nintendo, yes, they're dealing with their own stuff when it comes to selling from their website, but as we're talking about with GameStop, Target, Best Buy, Walmart, they're dealing with a lot of retailers as well, and they have to have a reason to stock this too, okay? So in their mind, it's easier to raise the price on high margin stuff that isn't as impactful. Yes, an $85 Switch 2 Pro controller is expensive, but it's not $600 like the system, okay? So in their mind, these are things that they are pricing now, and we hear about all the tariff stuff, right? The prices are going to go up. They'll come back down eventually. No, I think what we're looking at currently is a Switch 2 Pro controller that is going to be now $85 for the rest of the generation. And that's just kind of how it's going to go. Same with the Joy-Con 2 pair, hopefully. As in, I don't think it's going to go down in price, but I think there is always the chance that it will go up in price. So yes, the idea here is even if they took somewhat of a hit because of tariffs on the systems, the high margin stuff that was already fairly lucrative for not only Nintendo, but also retailers. I'm talking about headsets, for example, with the Xbox 360, Xbox One, massive margins on that. I mean, we're talking for retail, 60% sometimes. If you order enough of them, you could hit 70%. It was crazy. Like the margins on some of those. And of course you'd break them. You come back, buy another one, break it, come back. It worked out great. It was a very good relationship for the retail store and the distributor and Nintendo. So in that sense, this right here, these accessories are why retailers would stock a system that probably is break even, or even at times, depending on shipping, losing them money. We would lose money on the PS4. We'd lose money on the Xbox One, even at $500, believe it or not, because the shipping was an entire thing. And we would always lose money on Nintendo's products. Always. It was crazy. Usually you'd make $8 when you would order it, but then at the end, when they slapped the shipping on it, you would immediately have that $8 gone and you tack on another $5 per system. So you would want to make sure you could make it up on kind of the games, used games, but also everything and anything when it comes to accessories. And that's basically why they're raising the prices here, because it's more low impact, high margin versus high impact, no margin. And that's how they're going to try to navigate this whole thing. So I'm more curious if they ever have to raise the price on the games because of cartridge manufacturing and tariffs. For now, though, the console is the same price. That's good news. April 24th. It's when we're looking at the pre-orders going live. It's going to be chaos and mayhem, but at least we have a date and it's about a week out. So we can kind of plan this out a bit. Again, I'm going to go in person to GameStop, try to get a pre-order in there, and then also try to get another system for Teardown, maybe online. We'll see how all of that plays out. But let me know what you guys think about this one down below. With pre-order date now set, prices fluctuating a bit here, obviously going up for accessories. Are there any accessories you're thinking about buying, like that Pro controller, which I'm going to get? We'll take a look at it, see what we're dealing with when it comes to quality and functionality, and that's going to be pretty expensive. But that's just, again, kind of the world we're living in. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.